Good morning, folks. Today we are going to see about installation of SharePoint Server 2010. And I am Satish, SharePoint consultant, also running a technical blog, SharePointAgile.com. So let's start about installation of SharePoint Server 2010. And we have different types of installation with SharePoint Server 2010, as Microsoft is always providing very wonderful applications or tools. It will leverage the business on a greater heights. That's what I would say. So let's start with different types of installation, where you have single server with built-in database, single server form, multiple server form. Okay, what do you mean by single server with built-in database, you should ask me. So it's a physical machine like my home system, where I will be running all the components, SharePoint, SQL, application service, everything will be running in a single physical machine. Okay, so what do you mean by single server form? If you ask me, I will say it's a two different physical machines. I will using one for a SharePoint server and one is for SQL server. So all my content, everything will be stored separately in a SQL server, and it will provide me a great scalability if I need to scalable in future. So when I say single server with built-in database, it has minimum amount of scalability. It's really helpful when you are going to use it for development or testing purpose. When you have any requirement to scalable, please go ahead with single server form. What do you mean by multiple server form? If anyone asks me, I will say where the scalability is already been done. For example, you will have 5 to 10 front-end web servers and 3 or 4 SQL servers, and you will have a load balancer where all the network traffic will be routed to wherever traffic is less. So ultimately, for a organization which has around 50,000 80,000 employee, you could choose multiple server form, or even more than 1,000 employee, you can go ahead with multiple server form. And for SQL server, there will be clustering, so it will share the database and everything will go in a smooth way when we have multiple server form. Okay, so let's move on to software and hardware requirements, because we need to prepare our server before we could install SharePoint Server 2010. Okay, let's see the hardware requirements. So as I said, there are three types of installation. We have three different types of hardware requirements also. So basic requirement for any hardware will be processor, RAM or disk. See, the processor will be same for any type of installation. It needs to be 64-bit dual core or quad core, whatever you want to have it. And then you have RAM 4 GB for developer or evaluation use, and for production it needs to be 8 GB. And let's move on to hard disk. And all the three different types of installation needs to have 80 GB for system drive. You also need to have extra space for your daily use or requirement. That's depending upon your requirement. Okay, so let's move on to software requirements. As I said, there are three different types of installation. You need to prepare each server with prerequisite software installed. Okay, so when I need to do that, for example, let me say what is the prerequisite for a database server in a form. You could ask that question. So if you want to set up a database server in a form, you must need to have a 64-bit SQL Server 2008 with Service Pack 1 and Cumulative Update 2, or you could have 64-bit SQL Server 2005 with Service Pack 3. And also find the requirements for front-end web server, application server listed in the slide. You need to have 64-bit edition of Windows Server 2008 standard enterprise or data center or web server with Service Pack 2, and web server IIS role, application server role. And we must need to have .NET Framework 3.5 SP1, SQL Server 2008 Express with Service Pack 1, And also there are fewer more components required to install SharePoint Server 2010. So you will be able to find all these components in technet.microsoft.com to download. So please visit technet.microsoft.com to download and install it in your system before we could start installing SharePoint Server 2010. And let's start installing SharePoint Server 2010. Okay, so we need to download the trial version of SharePoint Server 2010 from the TechNet link. So it may require your Windows ID or live ID to log in to technet.microsoft.com. Just log into the site and download the trial version of SharePoint 2010. And please note down the product key for download as it will be required during installation. Okay, once you download the .exe file from TechNet website, all you need to do is, it's very simple process of installing SharePoint Server. All you need to do is double click the exe file. It will open up a window like what I am showing in the screen. Click install software pre-request. It's really wonderful what Microsoft has done, is where you all just need to click the install software pre-request. It will install all the pre-request. You don't need to navigate every time to different links to find the pre-request. It will prepare your system with all the pre-request. So it's really wonderful, right? So once you install all the software pre-request, it may take around 10 to 20 minutes depending upon your network speed. And let's move on to install SharePoint Server. Once you have done with installing software pre-request, you need to click install SharePoint Server. It will give you two options whether to install in standalone mode or farm mode. You could go ahead with standalone mode if you want to use the system for development or testing purpose, or if you have any scalability in future, please select with farm mode. And I'm going to install standalone mode, and I have clicked install SharePoint Server right away. So it's going through some of the processes. It may take minimum 20 to 30 minutes for your system to prepare with all the configuration, database, content DB, everything to be installed perfectly. So once you have done that, you will be taken to the home page of SharePoint 2010 server, where you will be able to see some of the nice features. So I have changed my logo. Actually it will look like text, but I have done the editing. So even you could do that by going to site settings, look and feel, title, description and icon, and you will find all other options here listed for you. So you can even add users and remove users, site permission, site collection administration, and you have galleries, site actions where you could do features, uh, managing site features and analytics reports, all that you will be able to get in site actions. You have also site administration, site collection administration, reporting services. So once if you install SharePoint Server, you will have option to look into all these options and see what it's going to do for our benefit. And my opinion is, once you have SharePoint in your organization, it will leverage your business to new height. That's what I see personally. So have SharePoint as a opportunity where you could grow your business to new heights. And thank you everyone for attending this session. If you have any question in regards to installing SharePoint Server 2010, please contact me at sharepointagile@hotmail.com. I'll be happy to help you guys, help you folks. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm always there to help anyone. So thank you very much.